The NCAA ruled a star Kansas basketball player ineligible. He'll be ineligible for this year and next, but KU says it will fight that ruling.
The sophomore will have to get used to not suiting up for the Jayhawks. The NCAA has ruled he must sit out the rest of this season, plus all of next season.
The NCAA ruled that KU men's basketball player Silvio De Sousa must sit out for the rest of the 2018-19 season as well as the 2019-2020 season because his guardian received payment from a university booster and agent and agreed to receive additional funds from the same person. Now, according to the NCAA, if a prospective student athlete allows a third party to become involved in the recruiting process, the athlete is then responsible for the actions of that person regardless of whether the prospective student athlete had knowledge or if benefits were received. Now, this language by the NCAA makes no distinctions as to the nature of how said third party became involved, nor does it make any distinctions about the nature of the third party itself. It is therefore not a stretch to assume that they say that even if the student athlete had no knowledge of what was transpiring between two adults, that they still somehow are responsible for their actions. The grounds for this decision, as many like it are, is based upon the principle of amateurism as outlined in Article 2, Section 9 of the NCAA Division I Manual. This principle states student athletes shall be amateurs in the intercollegiate sport and their participation should be motivated primarily by education and by the physical, mental, and social benefits derived. Student participation in intercollegiate athletics is an avocation as student athletes should be protected from exploitation by professional and commercial enterprises. Now here at KU Athletics, we are incredibly upset with the NCAA's decision as we consider it egregiously unfair. We also do not consider TJ Gassnola a booster or agent for that matter of the University of Kansas as they say he is. Furthermore, we believe that Silvio De Sousa did nothing wrong. His position as an elite collegiate basketball player is being exploited by people who Silvio is unable to influence or control. With that being said, we fully intend to fight this decision and get Silvio back onto the floor as soon as possible. My associate will now tell you about the facts that we found after conducting our own investigation into the matter.
So as David just touched on, the decision to rule Silvio as ineligible is based on former Adidas consultant TJ Gassnola testifying in federal court that he gave Fenny Falmain, Silvio's guardian, $2,500. Fenny then agreed to receive another payment of around $20,000 from the same person. The money was to be used to secure Silvio's enrollment at the university, and De Sousa had no knowledge of this. Coach Bill Self responded to the ruling by saying, "In my 30-plus years of coaching college basketball, I have never witnessed such a mean-spirited and vindictive punishment against a young man who did nothing wrong. To take away his opportunity to play college basketball is shameful and a failure of the NCAA." In the NCAA's statement declaring Silvio ineligible, they stated that a student-athlete is responsible for the actions of any third party in the recruiting process, whether they knew about their actions or not. The university is disappointed and will appeal the NCAA's ruling immediately. We have worked with the NCAA for the past 3 months to try and get Silvio back playing on the floor. We have patiently waited on the NCAA to give us answers during this process and cooperated with them every step of the way. We have withheld Silvio from playing during this entire process, as is tradition, so that he would not be, when he becomes eligible, it would not jeopardize any of the team's achievements up to that point. The NCAA indicated that the only way they would even consider reinstating Silvio is if we declared him ineligible and immediately sought his reinstatement, which we did. And then we had to identify that former Adidas consultant TJ Gassnola as an agent and a booster of our basketball program, which he is not. However, if we did not include him as a booster in our statement, the NCAA would not even consider reinstatement. The NCAA has required us to keep Coach Self and Silvio in the dark for much of this process. This has been an absolute nightmare for such an outstanding young man as Silvio. We will seek justice for Silvio and fight the NCAA's ruling until we have accomplished our goal.
So now that you have the background information, I'm going to go into detail about the punishment and other cases that are similar to Silvio's. First, I'm going to bring up a former football player at the University of Georgia, a name that you may know, Todd Gurley. While, according to Fox News report, Todd Gurley was caught selling his memorabilia and autographs for over $3,000 that he profited on while still in college. In this case, the player in question knowingly disobeyed the NCAA's amateurism rules and chose to do so regardless. After hearing of Silvio De Sousa's, one would think that Mr. Gurley would be suspended at least one full season because he was doing it knowingly. However, Todd Gurley was suspended 4 games and went on to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. Luckily, he's had a stellar career, but Silvio De Sousa should have been treated the way that Mr. Gurley was and not punished the way he is now. Another similar story is that of former Alabama football player Marcell Dareus. Bleacher Report author Bailey Brodigan says that Dareus attended parties hosted by NFL agents in Miami, flown in from Alabama to Miami, while still a student at Alabama. With regards to amateurism, this was a blatant opportunity from a college student to act as a professional and go and parlay with professional agents. So as Marcell Dareus is acting as a professional athlete, you would think that his punishment would be equally as good as Silvio De Sousa's, and at the very least, the same as Todd Gurley's. However, Marcell Dareus was ordered to pay $1,787 to a charity of his choice before he played another game at Alabama, which was immediately paid by a booster. How can it be acceptable to suspend an athlete for an entire season because of actions taken by a guardian and an unaffiliated third party that he had no knowledge of and he got no profit from? Silvio De Sousa does not deserve this level of punishment or anything close to it. Sure, it's wrong to break the rules and pay anyone to play in college, but it's not his fault that a booster was paying his guardian without his knowledge. He just wanted to come to the great University of Kansas and play for a tradition and basketball program and have a chance at a national championship. The NCAA should not be so quick to jeopardize the future of a bright young player and smart student. We believe that the punishment is unjust, that the NCAA should consider our appeal to lessen the punishment, if not eliminate it altogether. As the saying goes on the University of Kansas campus, free De Sousa.
In regards to the decision made this morning by the NCAA, the University of Kansas and our staff are in full support of Silvio De Sousa and plan on doing whatever we can to contest this ruling. Our first step is to send a formal appeal to the NCAA in hopes they realize their spiteful, vindictive punishment that they have put on this young adult. This decision has fundamentally ended the college basketball career of a young, talented man. In no way do we as a university agree with what has been done to our student athlete, and this should be a message to the NCAA that this will not be accepted. De Sousa is guilty of having a guardian allegedly seek money for his basketball services. In an article by CBS, they put this situation into words by saying, "He's guilty, so far as we can tell, of being a teenager incapable of altering the motivation of an adult. The NCAA can't punish the adult directly, so it's slashing the career of a 20-year-old. Norlander 2019. I do not understand the motive of this harsh punishment, nor the point they are trying to prove. But with our formal appeal, we plan to reduce the suspension of Silvio, being that he has already been forced to sit out all of our 2018-2019 season. We are confident that with the appeal, we can get De Sousa back on the court in red and blue next season. With enough willpower, we can get this horrendous decision overturned and get our student athlete back on the court. Silvio, as well as the University of Kansas, have been nothing but helpful to the NCAA during this investigation. We have taken all the steps necessary to help the investigation, and Silvio has been there doing whatever he can to eventually get back on the court. Sadly, after all his cooperation with NCAA and all that Silvio and we have done, they have failed us in their judgment of this case, and we will not back down until a fair ruling is made on our student athlete. To summarize the events that have occurred today, after hearing the harsh punishment of a 2-season suspension that has been given to our student athlete, Silvio De Sousa, on February 1st, 2019, we plan to appeal this irrational decision by the NCAA and want them to know that their actions will not be accepted without a fight. No person should get something taken from them that they love, that they couldn't control. This is shameful on the NCAA, and I hope you guys, as an organization, are watching this and realize the indescribable decision you guys have just made. We stand by Silvio no matter what, and do not plan on stopping until a rational decision is made. Thank you guys for your time, and to the Jayhawk community, we will be fine, we will continue to succeed, and we will not stop until our fellow Jayhawk is treated fairly. Rock Chalk Jayhawk.